Yelling at drivers.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the East Stroudsburg Area School District Properties and Facilities Committee. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening and welcome to everyone here and online. We will start with the the roll call, please.
George Andrews.
Present.
Michael Catrillo.
Here.
Jason Goldstrand.
Present.
Richard Lanis.
Present.
We'd like to thank Ms. Lopez for coming in at the last minute because Ms. Strunk is out sick. So Ms. Lopez changed her entire life to be here with us tonight.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay, let's move on to the adoption of the agenda. The chair will accept the motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
So move.
Second.
Oops.
We have a motion and a second, and you can choose who first and second.
We don't care.
All right, so first and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting of February 11, 2026.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The next Properties and Facilities Committee will be on April 8th. So moving on to the superintendent's report.
So we have a bunch of things to talk about, all have big dollar signs, but we just want kind of to give everybody some updates. Daryl, Train, and Eric have been working with Angela, who is our coordinator for federal programs and grants, to write 5 different DCED grants. There are millions of dollars available at the state level. So we were able to put in, 6 grants, 5 go with facilities, 1 went with Brian Borash. So it's $17.3 million in projects that we have asked for grant money for. They will cover 75% of the project. So it would be 4.5 million as the district cost. We do not anticipate to get all of the grants. We would love if we did, but we do not anticipate all of them. But if we got some of them, they would be helpful. We cannot, because these are grants, we cannot start these projects until the monies are awarded in October. So none of these projects would be for the short term. They would all either be next winter or next summer. Most of them would probably be next spring and summer. We're looking at generator replacement. Daryl, help me with all of this information. The emergency generators are
They're throughout. I don't have that list in front of me. It's North in Lehman, I believe.
so there were 4 sites. It is JTL, Resica, North, and Bushkill Elementary School. So it would be those generators. That project cost would be $780,000, but the district cost would only be $203,000.
Okay.
Yes?
And there's one at the North Water Tower.
No, the North Water Tower, we already replaced that one.
Okay.
So this is North High School. Then we are proposing JM Hill's roof replacement that we've received $1.4 million is the bid that we've received, or the cost that we've received. If we receive the grant, it will only be $365,000. I want to be clear, that project must be done next year, whether we get the grant or not. We are proposing an HVAC upgrade at Lehman Intermediate and North High School. That's almost $12 million. New hot water system at North High School. And I have Middle Smithfield here as well. And then a cabling project for Bushkill Elementary School. North and Lehman Intermediate School, and Resica Elementary School. So recabling 4 of our schools, again, 17.3 million, and then district cost would be under 5 million is the proposed. Again, we hope we get most of these, so this is not the full freight, but we will not start these or approve these until we know the outcome of the grants. Any questions about these 6 DCED grants?
No.
I'm gonna go on to engineer of record and then kick it off the train. We had spoken about engineer of record and that the board, this committee and the board had some interest in looking and exploring what our engineer of record could be and are there other opportunities out there. So we put out an RFP, so a request for proposal. We received 11 requests back, proposals back. We went through a pretty significant rubric process of reviewing all of them. We invited the top 3 firms in for an interview. We interviewed 2, one of the firms declined the interview. We interviewed the 2, and we believe that we are going to be recommending an engineer of record. We have worked since 2015 with Dewey, which is now CHA, and we are going to recommend that we continue to work with them. And there is a request for a motion to allow me to go negotiate with CHA to see if we can get a better rate and to bring a contract to the board as a whole for moving forward with CHA.
Thank you.
The last is train projects. So we had brought to you all these different cash flow projects with what our budget is. Andrew, you're more than welcome to stand up. See you over there. With all of these projects that we are talking about, what I had said to Andrew was, I feel that it's too much too soon, that the solar had, if you remember, there was solar on last time, and it had a really tight turnaround where it was like 18 months to get it done, but the project would have had to be done in 18 months, or we wouldn't have gotten the grant funding. So we took off the solar option, and we also phased into 3 different phasings, where the first phase would be the most economical of what would get us the most savings out of energy. And then that would hopefully give us some extra capital to do projects in the future. So instead of doing this in one phase over this summer, we said, let's parse it out into 3 different phases. So he's going to go over the cash flow and what that would look like. And then there's also the development agreement. So at the board meeting, we had spoken about allowing Train to kind of continue on with us, but we didn't actually have the agreement. So the board made a motion, but we didn't have the contract in front of us. So I had asked that we kind of pause on that until the board has time to review the contract, and then we would bring that to the full board. So do you want to go over all of this?
Happy to, thank you.
Okay.
for having me.
Welcome
And
back.
Keith Dockard as well, I'm trained.
Thank
So thanks again for your time. As was mentioned earlier, the grant process is a very important process. We help with some of those, in some of that regard, and that really weaves into this process as well. So some of the timing of this goes along with potential grant awards. So that's why, one of the reasons why we have it broken up the way we do. So I think that's important to mention. This is a lot of numbers on the sheet. I'm sorry, it's a little small print. Basically, what you see here is each column is a year. Okay, so every number you'll see is the cost or the savings for a year. So the top part, sort of the top grouping, is really savings numbers, and you'll see in all this we have energy savings, we have operational savings, and then you might have some incentives. So we're assuming certain incentives that come through. Really, the 2 incentives we're talking about are the grant and also the utility rebate, which is something that has been in place for quite a while. Again, that's money that you put into your energy costs that get set aside, and then you can then recoup when you do energy projects. So that's where the first rows are all the savings. The next set of rows are costs. So that's where we have amortized costs based on projected budget costs for each phase, and that's broken out into a yearly cost. And that's assuming a loan or lease. We assume 4% for this purpose. So 4% loan rate is what's assumed. all the assumptions, I'll say, are at the bottom, the boxes at the bottom, there's an assumption box that has the loan amount, the amount of each phase and the interest rate and all the assumptions on escalation. So we assume escalated costs for energy and things like that. That's actually 4% happens to be for that one, but all those assumptions are down below. And so then the third set of rows across where you see cash flow, that's really totaling all the numbers and saying at the end of the year, how does that look like cash flow wise? Once you've spent so much and you're assuming so much savings, what's the end result? So at the bottom of that is a summary. Eric, do you need a sheet? Sorry, I just realized you didn't have a sheet.
No, I'm good.
You're okay.
I did offer.
Okay,
offered them
just
paper.
double
Yep.
checking.
Yeah. And I've seen so many of these in
Yes.
electronic format here that, yeah, they make them bigger.
So that's just a quick summary of how the sheet is set up. And really, again, it's meant to show the overall cost and savings and cash flow for projects. As we mentioned earlier, there are 3 phases that we're proposing. The first phase would be doing a lot of the, we'll say low-hanging fruit, high energy savings projects, controls work, retro commissioning, and lighting in the first year. So that is reflected immediately on the spreadsheet. So you'll see the savings and the costs hit right away. And then we have year 2, the second phase hitting on the second column, and then third phase hits on the third column. So you'll see sort of a staggered approach. You'll see some gray space. That's because those phases don't apply to the prior phase. So you'll see like at the top phase, the very first line in the first column under program savings, you'll see phase 1 engineering energy savings, and you'll see 567. That's based on phase 1. The phase 1 project is projecting to save that amount per year. And then if you keep going down, it will show you the cost, the phase 1 principal and interest cost, and then you keep going down and give you the cumulative net cash flow for that first phase. Then once the second phase kicks in, so that would be projected for the hot water boilers and domestic water heaters, and some of that work to be done in that second phase. The second column, where you see the 2 at the top of the year, that second column reflects that phase getting done. So that'll show a new amount of energy savings, where it says phase 2 energy savings. That'll be a new amount added to the prior amount. And then you'll also have new operational savings and all the rest on down the line, and new costs added. So you'll also see the program cost increase. So it goes from kind of almost doubles in price. Then on the third column, under where it says year 3, that's where we reflect the third phase, and that would be getting those HVAC projects done at the North and Lake. I should say phase 2 is starting that process as well. It's the boilers plus the start of the HVAC at North and Lehman. Then the second part of North and Lehman HVAC and some of the other work would be done in phase 3. So we've sort of been a lot back and forth, but we've carved out a 3-step approach over 3 years. I'll say 3 to 4 year span when you look at all the summers of getting all that work done.
Thank you, because this is what I had asked for, so thank you for kind of phasing it out. When we look at phase 1, can you just give a little bit of explanation of lighting and controls of what that actually means? And I know there were some questions that there was some thought that we had done this before.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure everybody hears the same things that I've heard.
Yeah, I'll try to summarize that. We have done a lot of control work in buildings over the years, and a lot of the updated controllers are in place, but not everything. There are some schools and some areas that have outdated controls. We have controls that are either failing or obsolete, and also controls that aren't working 100%. So you have a mixed match, and we've done a full survey of all the buildings, and we've come up with so much control. And these are controllers that go on equipment, and they're also the front end software, the interface that everybody uses to use the controls. It's all those mechanisms and the security and all the work that goes into that. So there's all of those buildings getting addressed. So everything will be updated, but nothing that had already been done recently. It's not going to be updated, just all the things that haven't been updated. And then we're also doing a retro commissioning, which involves a deeper dive to look at energy use and how we can operate even better. And so without sacrificing comfort, we look at things like, how can we ramp things down and how can we control things better to get more and more savings? And so a lot of those things really need to be done every so many years. You think, well, we did it once, 10, 20 years ago, it just doesn't work that way. Buildings just don't, it's not like a set it and forget it. You have systems change, operations change, and you need to be looking at energy use and how you can correct those things and make operations better. So we have a lot of savings built into that retro commissioning, and also utility rebates. A lot of that is tied to that. So utilities want to give money for retro commissioning and for controls. That's a lot of the low hanging fruit, as they like to say. So that's then added to the lighting, which you have about roughly 80% of your lighting needs to be upgraded to LED. When you go from T8 to LED lights, LEDs, you may have working lights at T8's lights, that's a fluorescent light. Really the migration was like T5 to T8, and then now to LED. It's about a 50% reduction in energy use when you go from T8 to LED. So we have proposed doing all the buildings, updating all the lights that haven't been done already. Of course, the ones that have been done, we're good to go. We're just gonna do the ones that have not been done. And we're gonna marry that in with what has been done. So those are the two main scopes of work that we're proposing for this first phase.
And out of all the projects, those are the two projects that would be the highest yield of energy savings.
Those, yes, for the most part, yes, there are some other good ones to come, but that's the big items are in the first phase. So it's a good one to start with because you can start realizing savings early and you can sort of use those savings, so to speak, to pay for other work to be done.
So then that's 5.1. Then the second phase, you had said hot water and boilers. That is 6.6 million, but some of that is baked into the grants. Correct? Like
Yes.
those projects are,
Yes, which is a big timing wise.
Correct.
Start after the grant.
so when in that 6.6 million, what are, you said hot water and boilers, but I think they need to hear what schools and what we're looking at.
Well, the big one is at the North Lehman campus that has a central heating plant that covers both buildings. It's really, it's a combined system. So you have very large boilers. You have oil, number 2 oil being used. So it's a fuel conversion project. So to go from oil to gas is a very lucrative thing. It's a very good idea for a lot of reasons, energy wise. Oil boilers really are stuck at a certain efficiency, like 80% efficiency. You really can't do any better with oil technology. Natural gas has far exceeded and surpassed that, and you get now in the 90s, 95% efficient boilers and things like that. So it's updating very old equipment that only has a certain life. It is actually end of life as well. It's not just doing it for the sake of the fuel, but it's actually end of life. Plus, you have the benefit of improving the energy with going oil to gas. You have an improved domestic water plan, which will be right sized based on your domestic needs. And the hot water system will be right sized as well based on your needs.
Do we have to replace all the boilers? Because one of those boilers we had replaced about 10 years ago.
Well, if we want to change
About
the
8 years ago,
fuel,
pardon?
if we have to change the fuel, then we have to change the boiler.
George, we didn't replace the boiler up there.
What?
We never replaced the boiler at,
Oh, but north? Yeah, we
at
did.
North.
Yeah, we had a boiler that was down. We had to replace it.
Yeah. So we did domestic heater upgrade maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And that's currently running on oil, so, but. the
So
thing is,
we're changing
you
propane?
had- Yeah, you had foresight when you designed that, so those are dual fuel. So they're able to be converted over to natural, to propane, as well, so that conversion. will be
So
happening.
that we don't have to change the whole boiler, we just have to change the fuel.
Just the fuel, correct.
So that should cut some cost out.
And then phase
All that's
3,
built in, yeah, so we assess all that's built.
Oh,
in.
you built that in, okay, thank you.
and then phase 3 is the second part of the North and Lehman
Yes.
process.
HVAC, which would continue all the second phase would have them start that process. The third phase would have the bulk of it, as well with the really the classroom units and the air handlers and classroom units at North Lane. So those older classroom units are end of life. They are are some failing, there is issues, the biggest reason is air quality and humidity control is lacking. And so newer units have a much better ability, we're gonna be able to dehumidify and provide better air quality, along with much more efficient units and correcting an end-of-life situation.
So if, as a board, we're looking at the DCED grants would be 17.3 million, but our cost would be 4.5. And then you have here 16.5 million. That's not $21 million because your phase 2 and 3 are the DCED grants. So really, we would be responsible for the 5.1 million this year. That's not a grant. But then your phase 2 and 3 really are our grants. Correct? I don't want the board to look at, oh my gosh, we're suggesting $20+ million because we're asking for these grants to help us pay for phase 2 and 3.
Yes, so phase 2 and 3 weaves into the grant,
Okay.
yes.
So what the board needs to recognize is right now, we have about $13 million is where we'll be in our capital fund. The 5 million to get us the energy savings would come straight from that capital fund, which would leave us with about 8, right? Then we were saying we have 5 million that we're asking for DCED. We would either we can not take a loan this year, but next year we would probably want to consider taking loans for capital projects moving forward, because then we would be under kind of a 10 million threshold for our capital fund.
So you're saying phase 1 would come out of capital and it wouldn't come out of this construction cost loan?
That's what I would
That's what you
suggest.
Okay.
And then we could explore what a secondary loan would be to help cover some of these if we were awarded all of these projects.
Right. It would give us a better idea of what
Yeah.
grants were awarded
Correct.
to us. after.
But we can cover this first
Phase 1.
project. The reality is we can cover all of the projects,
Then we'd be
but then you're down to like 3 million
there'd be
and
nothing in there.
that's dangerous.
Yep.
If something ever goes. So we don't ever want to be that tight, especially with the size and how many buildings we have. But at this point, we could consider taking a loan out to cover the 5 million, but we don't have to.
I have you seemed a little bit hesitant on saying that the 16 million was all the grants.
It's not all the grants.
It's not all the
It's
grants
not.
right
2 and
now.
3.
The 5 million would come out, the 5.1, phase 1.
Yeah.
Would be all us.
Was all our,
Phase 2 and 3 are the grants.
but you seem hesitant on that.
Well, I was trying to follow, I think, if we look at the grants, there are several things in there. There's a cabling project, there's a roof project.
Right.
And there's some things that are not captured in this.
Correct.
So they sort of weave together, but they're not completely identical entities.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Correct, but for what your purpose of what you're presenting, your phase 2 and your phase 3 wouldn't be 6.6 and 4.6, all district funds. Your 2 phases are part of our grants. We have other grants that we've done
Yes.
for cabling and roofs.
Yes, and in this sheet, if you notice, we are assuming the $2 million in the box, we're assuming the 2 million grant funding. So which is a conservative assumption, that's just assuming, so that's sort of baked into this, is making an assumption about a grant award. So in that little box, you'll see the phase 1, 2, 3 costs, and then below phase 2, so you have a 2 million, that's making an assumption.
Thank you.
that
Yep.
grant
Below
will be there.
phase 2.
So then phase 3, that 2 million is out of that grant.
Right, but we could assume, because you're gonna have another round, probably.
Sure.
Of grants, so we could make another assumption, or we would hope, but that would be, that's not baked in there.
So when I
Yes,
look at the HVAC between Lehman and Intermediate, I'm at almost 12 million for the project cost. I thought that was phase 2, 3 of North and Lehman. No?
So mechanical, so the HVAC system upgrade LIS plus the HVAC system upgrades north are phase 2 and 3? Do I have that? Do we have that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're split.
They're just
The work-
different
it's-
numbers.
It's the grant, but it's also the timing of the work.
Right.
Okay.
It's such an extensive project for all those classrooms. One of the things that is necessary is you can pick the outside wall, you have brick and you have, your air openings through brick.
Hmm.
So that was a common thing many years ago. That's not really gonna work here because you're gonna need more outside air to do what we need to do with current ventilation requirements. So we'll have to cut it, that's baked into all this, is cutting into that brick and making a new louver to handle the outside air into the unit ventilators for the classrooms.
So you need to add more makeup air.
Yes. Those small brick openings are not sufficient.
Yeah, it provides two functions. One is for the introduction of more air, right, potentially, right? But two is it provides you the opportunity to do economizing, which is free cooling. So, now that you have the ability to pull in more air, if the conditions are good, meaning they're cool and dry, there's no reason to run a chiller or anything like that. You can bring in fresh air, which is a benefit for an air quality tenant. You can't, there's no option to do that currently with the current setup. The opening's too small.
So you'd have to make a new cut into every classroom basically and add more.
It's very common, but yes,
Yeah.
correct, as we're doing renovations.
We'll still use the same opening.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna have to modify it. But because of that, the timing and everything is such that having a 2-year project makes sense.
Mhm.
Question.
Okay. I have a question with regard to the controls. Totally out of my scope, probably not even anything to worry about. But you said that all the controls will be updated, which will allow whomever is in charge of those particular controls would have, I'm assuming, some sort of user interface outside of the building capacity to access those. Is that an internet? Is there a safety protocol to cover those? We often worry about student data being stolen, but if we get locked, is there the probability or possibility of that? Is that something that we need to talk to IT to make sure that our systems aren't shut down across the district, which,
Good question, security, and you're already in that world of remote access and security, so it's important, and, Keith can speak more about it, but we have protocols. We have several protocols and certifications that we do a lot of work to satisfy, so if we, went through the codes and things that we have, we do a lot on the protocols.
Okay.
And I think the point is that it's not going to be, it's a separate entity from being able to connect to your rest of your building, so to speak, is one way to say it.
If I
We've come
could-
a long way since.
Yeah, just to interject, and I know Anthony's here as well from IT, but we work very closely with Brian Borish when we
Okay.
implement a project like this. And I can say from sitting side by side with them and watching how our team handles that and
so
from
as long
coming
as
from
they're
that arena,
comfortable with,
they will have it VLANed off in its own physical space so that we don't have even it existing in what we would call the Internet of Things.
right.
So that a student could sit down or one of us even and look at that unless we had the proper privileges.
Well, I'm worried about outside.
We're also worried about.
Right, I know you are
inside.
too,
And
inside as well,
So,
but
yeah, so
I just want to make
you're
sure
absolutely
that
correct. So
we're
we will not only
insulated
protect it
from-
from that barrier, but they will also work to make sure it's secure even deeper
Yeah,
within.
within
Both.
our own.
Absolutely.
Because it's not like kids,
That's a
like,
good question.
yeah.
Probably the hottest button topic within our control world is that security. Probably the thing we spend the most time talking.
Yeah, and Brian knows
Okay.
we're working on
and
this
so as long
project
as he
presently
knows, we
too.
know.
Yep.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
So your 12/30/26 values, are they based on a 12-month period or 6-month period? Like, if we don't really get this underway until June, how does that affect your,
That was, we just picked a date, wouldn't really affect things dramatically. It would just.
But it would
follow-
change the numbers a
it would
lot.
Flow from there, yeah, we have a different starting point, but if we dial in a specific date, a more realistic date, we could adjust it and provide it to you. I don't think it would change things very dramatically.
Well, our energy savings wouldn't be equal to the previous years. I mean, the following years for that, for lighting, let's say, right? That's phase one. I mean, because you're looking at a 6-month horizon versus a 12-month horizon.
Let me see what you're saying.
So looking at 12/30/26, you're looking at $567,936 worth of savings. We're not going to realize that if you don't start the project until summer.
Yes, yes.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So that, I guess when I look at the bottom line for annual net cash flow, we're negative $454,000, right? Or is that positive?
That's possible.
That's positive.
That's
That's
what
a
we're seeing as savings.
If we took out a loan,
Well, we don't need a loan for the first year, right?
correct?
We're
But this
using-
is because the principal and interest is assuming that there's a loan.
But there is no principal and interest if we don't take out a loan.
Correct.
Correct.
We could modify based on that. These are the details that we like to sort out, because now if we say, hey, I want you to start your date on whatever date you choose, and we want to put the first chunk as capital, then we'll modify the whole thing and accordingly. So that's good to talk through that. The number will get better, of course, if you don't have to finance it. And the reason it goes out to 22, you might see that there's 22,
Mhm.
actually. The last 2 years, it's because each phase is 20 years. So the first phase is 20 years, second phase, third phase. And you also notice that we don't take credit for the savings in all the savings in the final years. That's because we usually look at this as a 20-year window. Now, we probably should take credit for it because it's real savings, but we're looking at this in 20-year chunks.
And the reality is probably 20 years from now, I'm making an assumption that technology might have changed and we'll probably need to do
Slightly.
something like this
Right,
again.
yeah, exactly.
It's a safe bet.
We'll have nuclear-
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, little ones in the back.
Thank you for walking us through.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
There's a
you.
lot of
Thank
them, detail on the sheet, so happy to.
Our board loves spreadsheets.
Mhm. And numbers.
One of the good things is that the actual spreadsheet, you can, with a screen, you can play with different scenarios and things like that. So that's one of the things we've been doing, but there's a lot of what ifs. And like you said, if we adjust this, we can see the effect of doing it. So we can play with that.
Excellent.
That's the fastest that's been
What?
going through. This is a lot. I mean, to get to this point, I think
Correct.
it's been well condensed
Yes.
based on where we've started with this.
Agreed.
It's been hours and meetings and meetings and weeks, and this is where it's come to. So
Yes.
thank you.
And kudos to Train. They've been a wonderful partner. So thank you
Yes.
both, honestly.
Thanks for coming.
So the project development agreement that we're going to ask you to move forward is not necessarily a commitment to any of or all of these projects, but it's a commitment to a project with Train. And if you read the contract, there is no cost unless we decide not to move forward with Train. And then it's a $65,000 breakage fee that we didn't. But they do need the agreement sooner than later, because if we're going to do any of this, they have to start the process of planning for summer work, or we won't be able to do it this summer.
Have we done the thing for the grants already?
We submitted, yes,
We submitted stuff.
we are all
Have-
submitted.
we
It
had
needed to
funds
be
last Thursday.
submitted on the 13th.
Yes.
We submitted early this week. Angela has been amazing, right, Daryl?
Absolutely.
Amazing. I have to say, Daryl did offer to go to Angela personally and work with her.
You did.
Especially around like
Field trip.
Right.
middle,
Yeah.
beginning of February, I think. It was like, Angela needs me.
Sometimes you gotta take one for the team.
Yeah.
Right. Right, okay. When we have to replace light bulbs in our, the T8s, do we replace them with LED or we just replace them as
Both. actually. So what we would do if there's a lot of lights out in a certain area, I will not replace the ballast.
Okay,
So if the lights were out in here, I would come in and replace the fixture with an LED fixture.
okay,
We did find a bulb, right, Rob, that, a crossover bulb that's LED that would work.
right, there are those,
But
right?
there's a lot of issues with them and that we were having a lot of problems with them and it was becoming more of a hassle than what it was.
So you would change the whole fixture out,
Well,
the-
the cutout, we would bypass the ballast. is what we-
just bypass,
If the fixture is right, we make that decision as we're.
okay, okay,
If it's a nice fixture, no, I just bypass the ballast and
okay,
run LEDs.
LED.
but thank you. All right, so we've talked about the DCED grants. We had a conversation with the train projects and the engineer of record. Anything else for the superintendent's report?
I think we've done enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you've
Yeah,
done enough,
thank you.
right?
You're welcome.
Yes, okay. Chairperson's report and capital project expectations. Anything? We
This
have,
is what we had talked
Right.
about as we planned the agenda of that, as a committee, there should be an expectation that we have a capital project plan, a 5 to 10-year plan, what that looks like.
Right.
And also, if we remember when we did the feasibility study, we offered a weekly update of where we were with the feasibility study. And we had talked about some regular cadence of updates either from our engineer of record or train on kind of that I could send the board either every other week or monthly of here's where we are with project updates, and then here's where we are with kind of any other issue that we have going on. So we just wanted to talk that out. We had spoken when we interviewed CHA, if they were comfortable with that. And they absolutely said that they're comfortable with doing kind of like a monthly brief of where they are with
Right.
projects.
okay, that would be good.
But
Yeah.
does
A
the,
monthly
does
is,
the
I think,
committee as a
yeah.
whole feel that that would be beneficial to the board
yes,
Yes.
in my very short Friday emails?
in your
Yes.
very, very short ones, yes.
Add a chapter to those.
Correct. Another tab, if you will.
But I guess if it's weekly or monthly, we're taking little bits at a time. So we
Correct.
don't need
We thought weekly might.
it's a lot.
For facility upgrades, that weekly might be too short of a
Right.
cadence, that monthly might be a little bit better.
Right, right. Okay, understood. Thoughts?
So, and we had the discussion with CHA,
Okay,
and they can be very flexible on what they offer, so we'd have to want to come up with something that what we would want as a committee.
okay. Good. All right. Current project status updates.
So is Josh on?
We don't have any monitors, though.
I'm sure.
Hey Maggie, yes, I am on.
Hi,
Ooh,
Josh.
really?
How are you? How's everything?
Everything is okay. How are you guys?
Good, excellent.
Good.
There you are.
Good.
We got them.
Oh,
Yeah, well, look at that.
Look at you.
All over the place.
There I am.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the sprinkler, but do you want to start with that?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of helpful. I like
It is.
Back there.
Don't we like? See, Anthony, they like the rear projector.
Oh,
Told you.
These my eyes start.
You, Josh, just so you know, your face is giant in the back of our room right now.
And I hope it's super. Oh, hey Keith, how are you? I see you down there. I hope it's in super HD too.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
Great,
see
great.
everything. Okay, so
Um,
do you want to give where we are right now with the ESE sprinkler?
Yes. So we had a conversation, Maggie and I, with Chris Brown. We still are in the process, I guess, of prior to making the official board vote, speaking with Keystone about assembling whatever project costs they have to date and submitting those. There was some concern from Keystone, obviously, with the potential for that contract being canceled. Obviously, they had some concern with that ahead of time. So we did speak. There was a notification provided to Keystone to please assemble whatever costs have been expended to date. I have not received anything back yet, Maggie. I don't know if the district has directly, but obviously that would be helpful to know ahead of time prior to next week's meeting. So we will remind them to provide that information. At this point, we're kind of on a holding pattern right now. We don't want to proceed with any more design or pre-construction efforts, knowing that that's only going to increase that cost prior to the vote. So at this point, we are kind of waiting for Keystone to provide feedback, which we would obviously like to get prior to the end of the week this week so that the board can make a more informed decision for next week. So at this point, we're trying to prevent any further progress for that project.
Okay, thank you. Smithfield.
Smithfield and JTL, I actually heard from the contractor just today questioning if April 15th, which usually is kind of the magic date for cutover from heating to cooling, if that would still make sense. I said yes, but I actually have a meeting with the district tonight, so let's just make sure that that is going to be the date. They would like to start right away at JTL to demolish those boilers and start the replacement piping process. From JTL, they would then move to Smithfield. So as long as the district, I can follow up with Daryl after the meeting just to make sure that that April 15th date is good, that we can cut the heating. JBM Mechanical is ready to get started right away with that. So that would be a spring and summer installation to get the heating and the domestic water. At JTL, there's also domestic water to get that wrapped up for the start of the school year for September 26th.
Okay, perfect. We have North Transportation Facility. I have that a concept will be presented in April. And then the rest is for Daryl. So Josh, you're off the hook. Daryl, building and facilities updates. Lehman TV Studio.
Lehman TV Studios. Let me get the right page here. Well, as you guys know, we've been going round and round with the Lehman and JTL TV studios up there. Well, we have the permits and we started working on them this past Monday.
Yay.
So hopefully we'll be in and out of there pretty quickly. It's not really, on my end anyway, it's not a huge project, so we should be in and out relatively quick. As far as the other companies coming in, installing their systems, I'm not sure about that. But we are actually underway at Lehman currently. As soon as we're done at Lehman, we'll be moving into JTL.
And we did meet with our technology department collectively. So when you see on the agenda, we put that plus 2 weeks. It's whatever date Daryl reaches his substantial completion with the structural corrections or the installations. Brian and his team know that they will make contact with the vendor for setup and testing, and they have about a 2-week window to complete that. So it just adds a little more lead time. But both of the teachers in those areas and the instructional team is aware that at this point, the Lehman studio will be ready for next school year because we're getting it done this spring. And the JTL studio, Mr. Toth has indicated he's planning on moving out of there by April 13 and working elsewhere in the building so that we have it available the remainder of the school year.
So also, I was asked about the Bushkill Elementary intrusion alarm. And I spoke, I don't know if Josh is still on,
The burglar alarm.
the burglar alarm.
Intrusion is.
I was asked about that and the fire pump at Smithfield Elementary. As I understand it, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, as a part of your retainer services, you guys are going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into this and make sure we're getting and doing what we need to do rather than.
Yes, and Daryl, these would be slated for the summer timeframe for corrections?
Yes, yeah, we've
Is that ac-
indicated, Josh, in looking at them that, for example, and for the committee, the intrusion alarm, the burglar alarm at Bushkill is not something that just failed. Okay, so that's something that has had issues and is currently in need of fixing. It's not an emergency. It allows us to slow it down enough to be able to let Josh look at that. And also with the playground, I'm sorry, I jumped way ahead there, didn't I? With the fire pump, because that's not on here. I just read the next line. Yep. The fire pump is leaking. It's not failing, it's leaking. But to fix that is an expensive project and requires pulling it apart, repacking it at the very least.
Fire
So-
pump where?
At Smithfield Elementary
Elementary, it's
for the
on-
sprinkler system. So it leaks, it loses water. So but if it fires up tomorrow, pun intended, it pumps water and it does what it needs to, but it does need to be repaired. So that's another one that we said, can we just slow it down? Not rush that through the committee, because as part of the retainer that is provided with CHA, they will look at that, ensure we're doing what we only need to in order to correct it, and also make sure it's in compliance with all of the procurement guidelines. That way
Yeah,
Daryl
and-
and his team can focus on keeping things that we have running while they're taking a look at that.
Yeah, and we did look at the preliminary, the proposals. You know, don't see anything wildly out of line, I guess, with the scope or the cost. I would just maybe recommend perhaps getting a few more state contract proposals to do the similar scope of work, just to see how they shake out. Just need to be a little bit cautious with the fire alarm, especially to make sure that any components are compatible with the existing system and the existing devices. Same with Bushkill. Bushkill, they did identify a Genetec system, which is an open protocol type system. So there should be multiple vendors that can propose on that. So one recommendation off the bat would be, let's just get another proposal or two and see where they come in compared to the initial one. So we'll come back next month with some additional recommendations for you.
Thank you. Bushkill Playground. This is
Right.
exciting.
Okay.
Go for it.
Sometime last year, the facilities committee approved a $35,000 budget for Bushkill Elementary playground. I held it up at that point only because at the time there was a grant through the county that they were giving us. We wanted to wait to hear back from that. We did, and we got nothing. So, anyways, we met at Bushkill Elementary with Mr. Sadowski and some of his students, going over some plans and possibilities of what we can do there with their playground. He informed us that he has, their PTO is also bringing $15,000 to the table. So that gave us a $50,000 budget. And the piece that Mr. Sadowski and the kids chose comes to $50,576.
Because Daryl got it negotiated down by several thousand to be in the 50,000 range.
Good job.
Well done.
Yeah.
So,
And I did offer to drive to Wisconsin and pick it up. But apparently there's something called a governor on it, and that didn't sound as good.
No.
So that, and they are, Burke is a CoStar's company. That's where we're at with, we're asking the city.
So we would ask for the board, the committee to move this forward to the board so that we can begin this process of ordering this equipment and get this going, so that next year our Bushkill Elementary students could have a new playground set.
Can I ask a silly question?
Mhm.
Is installation involved? Is installation included in the quote?
Yes, the only thing that's not included in the quote is the flooring,
Okay.
right? But we do that every summer
Right. So it's just
anyway,
the,
so we didn't get that
Got it.
included, but they would have done it, but our grounds crew
Right.
does it anyway,
okay, good.
so,
Okay.
but this is full installation and assembly.
That
Yes,
is
sir.
super useful.
Including like footers and all of that, like all
Yep,
of that.
Yep, I'm gonna go in first, and I'm actually gonna remove as much of the good wood carpet that's there
Right?
with our loader and our equipment.
Okay.
And we'll probably plow the rest out, and yeah, they're gonna come in and basically build the whole setup that they chose.
Perfect. So it's not going to be manual, like volunteer manual labor to install it.
No,
Okay.
they're coming in.
We've done that once. That was fun, but,
Yes.
The $35,000 was, yes.
all right. Thank you. And technology department, anything?
There's nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. Super. All right, then moving on, we have the, well, that's the playground.
Mhm.
Good. We talked about that, so total cost 50K. PTO's kicking in 15, the district's kicking in 35,576. All right. The JM Hill roof,
So these are just what we're proposing as projects for the 26-27 school year. And it shouldn't necessarily say energy projects, it can just say DCEP grant projects. So those are all the projects that we're proposing.
okay. Got it, all right. And then, there's the energy projects. So the JM Hill roof, it's just something that has to be done.
Yeah,
Only the
so
immediately
it has lived its life. Whether we receive the grant or not,
Right.
we need to make that investment next
Okay.
summer.
All right, next summer. So that's a summer 2027
Yes.
project. Okay. All right. Let's talk about our completed projects for 25, 26.
We just like to highlight them so we
Okay.
can see all the things that we've done this year.
We celebrate those.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
I guess we should probably note that even though we say proposed 26, 27 projects in here, they're going to span more than that year.
Correct.
So
Right.
the JM Hill roof's just case in point. It likely wouldn't even start till 27, 28.
Yeah.
Right. But these are all the things that have been completed at this point. All right. All right. And we have our current capital projects list, things that are going on and approved. Anything to note in here? Anything of,
Nothing.
This may change a little bit, we'll know.
This
as
will
we-
change.
Yes.
Because we're gonna have,
CHA is going to work
CHA
with us to
is
build
working for- yeah,
a 5 to 10 year plan. Yes.
okay,
which will be a big help.
Agree.
right. All right, great. Any comments, questions, concerns for the current capital project list? No, and the capital payment list? Anything, this is just letting us know, yeah, informational, all right? All right, moving on to items that require action. So, is there a motion to allow the superintendent to begin negotiations with CHA as to
moved.
continue? Oh, God, so moved, all right.
Done.
Motion and second.
Vote on it.
I think we should have a lengthy discussion about this. No, I'm not.
Okay. I'll
But
talk
I
to you.
mean-
Josh will talk.
No, so you feel comfortable?
Very, yeah, after the good meeting, it went 2 hours instead of 1 hour.
Okay,
And some of the things that came up today that we talked about with the retainer and all that we're starting to use it now. That was one of the big issues we had as a board.
okay,
So yeah, I'm very comfortable with it. Now all they have to do is perform.
okay. That's all. That's all they have to do. Any questions or comments of the administration regarding the conversation they had with CHA or anything? Josh, do you have anything you want to add?
Sure. We are really appreciative and thankful for the relationship that we've had with you guys over the past 10 plus years. There's certainly been varying issues, personalities involved throughout the years. I think we've got a very good kind of fresh start is I think what I said in the meeting. I think there's a very good structure in place now with improved communication, with improved direction. So I'm personally very excited to continue with this group and with the district, and we thank you guys for your consideration.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, thank you.
And also,
Thank you.
if I can add too, we spent so much time doing this that it really, I think, brought to light the function that our current team has, not just managerially with the administration, but with the board relationship right now. And that was highlighted also by CHA, indicating that we're coming out of a place where we didn't always have that. We feel our job is to obviously bring you good data and clear information regularly so that you can make good decisions. And as long as the board makes those decisions, it puts CHA in a position to follow our direction, and then we can really get things done. So I know we know where our role is in that, and we're going to continue doing that. I can speak for my team as well to make sure that we bring you the data that you need, or if you ask for something we didn't, we'll have it back here at the next meeting or sooner so that you can make the decisions to keep us rolling. But thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, DCED Board Resolution. So we would like to have a resolution to approve these DCED submissions to be applied towards projects if they are awarded.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. I guess really the big piece here is fingers crossed, right? I mean, let's get what we can get here.
We
All right.
were awarded last time 50% of the projects that we applied for.
All right,
That would be fantastic.
that would
That would
be
be great.
wonderful. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, the cabling project for Bushkill, High School North, Lehman, and Resica,
That's another DCED.
and that's another DCED project. Is this project, is the cable failing, or is it just old cable?
It's
Like,
old, it needs to be updated,
is it
just
Cat,
like we just did at JTL.
right, so it's Cat 5E, and it just needs
Probably
to,
6E.
it's gonna potentially 5E, going to 6, okay.
Josh is ready.
6A?
He just.
Yeah, correct. So I actually asked that same question to Brian. I said, what are you guys thinking, 6A, 6E? So basically, we're going to kind of duplicate what happened at JTL last year with fiber runs that are being rerun from the main DMARC to the MDF and IDF rooms, and Cat 6A cabling going out to devices in the classrooms, wireless access points, and wall data jacks. So a very similar project compared to JT Lambert.
And the 6A, is that 550 megahertz cabling, or is that 350?
Oh, geez, Rich, you're putting me on now. I will check for you, okay?
6A is 500. Rich.
500, okay, right, all right, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, and now to rescind the contract with Keystone for the ESE sprinkler system. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to rescind the contract with Keystone for the ESE sprinkler system, that whole big project, and to then redo it again to break it into small projects to identify only those issues within the building to be fixed.
Correct.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
And right now, we're waiting for information on how they're gonna do it.
Correct.
Yes. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Any comments on this agenda, limited to this agenda?
Public.
Public
Nothing.
comments? Any public? No. All right. All right, so I might have gone a little out of order here. I think the items that requiring action, we should have, for next time, I think what we need to do is make sure that those are after the public
Public.
participation. So perhaps next time on 10, we make 10, yeah, wherever 12 is.
Well, I feel like
But the,
10 and 12 are redundant.
Yeah, so I think we don't need an item requiring action. If we just need a way to discuss, no, they need to be discussed after
After public.
public
is
participation.
there an updated agenda? I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the one online.
is my advisory recommendations come after public participation,
Right,
No,
which is where. it
I can
should
tell
be.
you what happened. I can see it on the other paper agenda. They were duplicative.
Okay.
And
Right.
the wrong one got deleted.
Okay.
So
Right,
that
so-
can be fixed.
All right.
There were two on the Google Doc agenda.
yes.
They was there twice. I asked to have it not duplicated, and the bottom one got deleted. I didn't catch that. So
Okay.
No.
easy fix.
I was working off the Google Doc.
Yep.
Well, not the Google
Yeah.
Doc. I'm working off
Yeah.
the,
Yeah. The good
Board
news is in a committee setting, nothing got broke because
Right.
it's advisory recommendation.
yes, they're all advisory, right? With that said, I take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, very good, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.